Over the age of 40, you've been struggling to lose weight and drop fat and get the body that you want, the energy that you need, and the confidence that you deserve. And this video is for you because we're always talking about the importance of metabolism. It's in the news, it's on social media. Certainly here, we're always talking about what it is. But what I wanted to do today is actually talk about what exactly understanding the metabolism and why you should care, why it matters, because we say it all the time that your metabolism is everything, that it is the big domino in your fat loss and weight loss journey, that once you can push that over, and what I mean by once you can reset a sluggish and stalled metabolism, that will unlock unlimited fat loss, and that will make everything else so much easier. You don't know who I am? I'm Brian, founder of FatLossAfter40.com. That's exactly what we do, is focus on that big domino of the metabolism, because as I said, everything else gets easier once your metabolism is reset. The weight just seems to come off. You burn more fat, you burn more calories, you have more energy, you sleep better, you can concentrate, you're more focused. All of that stuff, your hormones are regulated. All that is tied into the importance of metabolism. So let's talk about this. First off, what is the definition of metabolism? And again, we hear this all the time, but what exactly is it? It's the process your body uses to convert food into energy. So let me say that again. Let me give you an analogy: to convert food into energy. So obviously, the higher your metabolism, the more effective and efficient you are at burning food into energy. The higher your metabolism, the more calories you're going to burn. The higher your metabolism, the more fat you're going to burn. I want you to think of your metabolism like a thermostat. Your thermostat at home, the higher the thermostat, the warmer and hotter it gets. Same with your metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the more calories and fat you burn, even at rest. And that is the goal, is to burn fat and calories at rest throughout the day, not just while you're working out, but during the whole day. So that's what your metabolism is. So thinking metabolism, that again, the higher, the better. All right. A fun fact to keep in mind too, that your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. Now your basal metabolic rate, not going to get too in the weeds on this, but just think of your basal metabolic rate is just your baseline. How many calories it takes just to stay alive. So if you were just to wake up one day, not move, stay in bed, not do anything, lay dormant all day, that is your basal metabolic rate. And that is about 60 to 75% of your calories. Now that's a pretty big range, that's 15%. And the difference there comes from how efficient and effective your metabolism is. So if you have a poor metabolism, you're probably burning closer to the 60, maybe even a little bit less. But if you have a high metabolism, where you are doing all the right things, you might be 75 or above. And again, that's just to live. So that's a beautiful thing, because again, that means you're burning more fat, burning more calories. So that's the definition of metabolism. Now, why do we get in trouble? And as we age, when I say trouble, I just mean, why does our metabolism start to slow down? It's almost like you can feel it. I don't know about you, but I know I felt it. Like in my 20s and 30s, it seemed like everything was easier. It seemed like workouts were easier. It seemed like fat loss was easier. It seemed like weight loss was easier. But after 40, 50 and beyond, it gets so much harder. And there's a few reasons for that. So we're going to talk about some of the problems. First off is age. As I mentioned, over the age of 40, your metabolism just starts to naturally slow down. Genetics could be part of it. Again, the aging process, there's a number of factors. Other ones include muscle loss. Now, this actually happens late 30s, where we actually start to lose muscle tone. Clinically, it's called sarcopenia. Who cares about the clinical name? All you need to worry about is it sucks, because it means that your body is actually losing muscle tone. And that tone is what you want. You want that toned, sculpted look. And you actually start to lose that. You start to get flabby. And think of muscle is metabolism. So the more muscle you have, muscle is metabolically active. You've probably heard that before, that muscle is metabolically active. Said another way, have you ever heard of a muscle cramp? Yeah, because it's metabolically active. Have you ever heard of a fat cramp? No, you haven't, because fat is not metabolically active. It's not active. Fat is just gooey, cloudy. It's inactive. So again, muscle is metabolically active. So that's why more muscle tone, the higher the metabolism. Other factors include stress, high stress. Stress raises the cortisol in your body. So when the stress levels are high, cortisol levels are high, and that actually trains your body to hold on to the fat. It slows your metabolism down. It puts you in fight or flight, throws your hormones out of whack, and it makes your body store the fat. Other things include, again, the hormones like we just talked about, cortisol levels, poor nutrition. Now, this is a big one because a lot of us, especially when clients first come in, we always meet with them and we always want to meet them where they're at. So we always do a diet recall. Very simple. Just see kind of what they're eating, where they're at now. Most are only getting about 50 to 60 grams of protein. And the problem with that is nothing as far as nutrition will burn fat and boost your metabolism like enough protein. So when we see that 15, 60 grams, we immediately want to double that. But poor nutrition plays a role in that. If you're not eating enough protein, your metabolism is going to slow down. If you have a high sugar diet, your metabolism is going to slow down. If it's mostly processed food, your metabolism is going to slow down. So those are all things to consider. Next is yo-yo dieting. This is the worst. And this is why those doomed to fail starvation diets never work long term. Because what happens is you go in a calorie deficit. And when we say, just to be clear, starvation diet, we're talking about anything less than 1,200 calories, which is actually pretty common. I mean, some diets go to like 800, 900 calories, which is ridiculous. But anything less than 1,200 is considered a starvation diet. So what happens when you do that is your body actually, again, it goes in fight or flight. It raises the cortisol levels. It throws your hormones out of whack. But what it does long term is it just screws up your metabolism because it's working against your body. It's like a tug of war, meaning that you lose a little bit of weight and then you gain it back. You lose a little bit of weight and you gain it back. And it's like a constant tug of war until finally you just give up, throw your hands up in the air, and then gain all the weight back and more. And that really wreaks havoc on your metabolism. So again, another reason why we have to heal the metabolism. Also, and this is an important one too, and very underrated, but H2O or water intake. Now think of this fun fact that every metabolic event or effect or agent in your body, every metabolic action in your body requires water. So if you're not drinking enough water and you're dehydrated, again, your metabolism is not going to be as effective and as efficient as we would like it to be. So again, simple solution, just make sure you're getting, over your 84 ounces of water. We typically prefer, closer to 90 ounces of water. But as long as you're getting enough water, that'll help you. That'll help with your metabolism. So that is what your metabolism is. That's the problem with your metabolism. So let's talk about some good news. Let's talk about what we can do. What are some long-term solutions that we can do to help repair the metabolism, and then restore your metabolism, and then finally reset. So we want to repair, restore, and reset your metabolism. And when we do that through a metabolic makeover, everything else falls into place. So the first thing we want to do is work backwards. So if age, we can't we can't change age. Clearly, but the muscle loss we can. And that's why we're always talking about the importance of progressive strength training versus cardio. You see, typically when people want to lose weight, they'll do cardio. That is the old way of doing fitness. That is the mainstream fitness way of fitness because it's geared towards 20 and 30-year-olds. We know that doesn't work anymore, and here's why. Because of the muscle loss, what we want to focus on is strength training. And you shouldn't have to live in the gym. We don't want you to live in the gym. All you should have to do is 2 to 3 progressive strength training workouts a week. So what does progressive strength training mean anyway? It just means finding a repetition range between 10 to 20. A weight that's light enough, you can do at least 10, but heavy enough, if you can do over 20 repetitions, increase the weight. Stay in that zone. That's going to help tone the muscle, sculpt the muscle. It's going to raise your metabolism. It's going to give you more strength, more balance, more coordination, all those things that we want and need as we age that cardio doesn't give us. So that's going to help with the muscle loss right there. And by doing that and skipping the stress, we're not going to put undue stress and cortisol levels on our body. So we're going to skip the cardio, focus on the strength training. Here, poor nutrition. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but as far as nutrition, Keep it simple. We believe in whole foods. We believe in real food for real results. We are inclusive, meaning that we believe that we have found that carbohydrates are part of the programs. Fats are part of the programs. And most importantly, as we say, the POP diet, which is the power of protein. So we want you to get, as I said, closer to that 100 grams of protein. Now we individualize that, and oftentimes we have to go even higher, but we say just start at 100 grams of protein. So if you do that, again, real food for real results, nothing packaged, nothing processed, just real food. Have your carbohydrates, have your fats, eat naturally. And what's going to happen is you're going to find that your body actually starts to perform better. Other one, yo-yo dieting, obviously we're going to skip that. Skip the yo-yo diet and the HTO. As I mentioned, just drink more water. If you do this, what you're going to find is that the weight loss starts to work with your body. See, I think sometimes as we just try so hard and it breaks my heart because I see it in clients all the time. They push so hard and they want it so hard and they think that they're broken. They think their bodies are broken. So they try harder and harder and it just gets even further and further and further away. It's like they're pushing the boulder up the hill and all of a sudden the boulder comes back down and they start over again. And that's because you're working against your body. You're working with friction. Try the new way which works with your body. And as I said, when you start to do it this way with the right food, the right exercises done the right way, customized for you, what happens is exactly that, is the weight just starts to naturally come off. It becomes easier. And the best part is it comes off and stays off. It's a permanent solution and not a quick fix. So I hope that video helps. Hope it clears up exactly what metabolism is, the definition, the problems of why it goes awry, and most importantly, the way to get the results that you desire and deserve.